Welcome. My name is Rebecca Brown, and I work for the National Network of Libraries of Medicine Training Office. I'm going to give you an introduction to PubMed today. PubMed is a free online tool produced by the National Library of Medicine, also known as NLM. NLM is one of the National Institutes of Health that is funded by U.S. tax dollars, and PubMed is one of the largest and most comprehensive databases of biomedical journal literature in the world, and I'm here to show you how it works. So let's look at our agenda. We're going to start with an introduction to the PubMed database, what it is and what's in it. Then we'll explore PubMed features and discover how to accomplish some of the most common PubMed tasks. If you're following along in another browser, that would be great. Otherwise, you can sit back and relax. And then finally, I'll show you how to get help in case you get stuck. PubMed is NLM's free authoritative database of more than 30 million citations to articles in the fields of biomedicine and health, with a specific focus on collecting original scientific research. It's used by about 2.5 million unique users each day, including clinicians, researchers, students, and others from a variety of fields. So what are some of the ways you can use PubMed? You can use it to find a specific research article based on some known information that you have about the article, or you can use PubMed to find articles written by a particular author. You can also use PubMed to help familiarize yourself with a topic, and because of its vast scope, you can also use it to do a deep dive into a wide variety of subjects. So we get this question a lot. Does PubMed have full text? Well, PubMed describes itself as a database of citations, not a database of full text articles. However, about 2/3 of PubMed citations include links to the full text. And if you look at articles published in just the past 10 years, it's closer to 90% that provide full text links. But remember, there's a difference between full text and free full text. Some of the links may take you to the publisher's site, which may require a subscription or a one-time fee. When a publisher does provide a free full text access to an article, that link will be included in PubMed. And when available, PubMed includes links to the full text in PubMed Central, also known as PMC. PMC is NLM's free full text repository. PMC was created in response to the NIH public access policy that was adopted by Congress in 2009. The policy says that any publications that come out of the research supported by an NIH grant must be made available to the public for free. One of the most common ways PubMed is used is to locate a specific article based on some known information you have about the article. So say you come across a news story like the one on the slide. This is a 2019 story from National Public Radio reporting on research that shows that the common treatment for asthma may not be as effective as previously believed. The online version of the article had a convenient link back to the original research, but that's not always the case. You might see an article listed in the references section of a paper. So what do we know about this research article? We know that it was published in the New England Journal of Medicine. The NPR story is from 2019, so it's probably a recent article published in 2019. And one of the authors is Stephen Lazarus. And honestly, just this little bit of information should be enough for us to find the article very easily in PubMed. So let's go into PubMed and see if we can find it. One of the key design features of PubMed are the sensors that are built into the search box. And that's sensors with an S, S-E-N-S-O-R-S, lots of S's. These sensors analyze your search terms and try to detect exactly what you're looking for. So if we enter the author's last name, the abbreviation for the journal, and the year, PubMed citation sensor should detect that we entered some basic citation information and will help us find the article that we're looking for. So I'm going to go ahead and just paste that information into the search box and hit search. So now we're looking at the search results page, which is displayed in summary view. And notice at the top here, highlighted in yellow, it says 3 articles found by citation matching. PubMed Citation Sensor used a fuzzy matching algorithm to find citations that might be a match for the article we're looking for. In this case, PubMed thinks it's one of these top 3 articles that we're looking for. And we see that the third article has all 3 pieces of information that we entered into the search box. So here's the author name, the journal title, and the year. PubMed also runs our search normally and gives us an alternative set of results just in case we're actually trying to find something else. And those are included right below, but also include this one that is the article we want. We'll look at the rest of what's on the search results page in just a bit, but for now I'm going to click on this third citation from our NPR story to look at this in more detail. So now we're in what is called the abstract view. And we have some basic citation information in the top. Here's the journal title abbreviation, and if you hover your mouse over it, it will show the complete title. That's a nice feature. Then we have the date, volume and issue, and page range. Then to the left of that, we have a tag or a label that indicates the type of article this is. And in this case, it's a randomized controlled trial. Now, not every type of article will have a tag, but PubMed does highlight commonly looked for publication types such as reviews, clinical trials, or a case report. Below that, we've got the article title. Immediately to the right of that, we have the section with full text links. This citation has a link to the journal's publisher website. It also has a link to a free copy of the article in PubMed Central. You might also see a libraries icon in this section if your library participates in Link Out for Libraries using Outside Tool. Below this title, we have the author information section, and this list can be very long with hundreds of authors and collaborators displayed. This is a fairly reasonable sized list. Just below it, we can expand the collaborator and affiliations section. And this tells us where people work. You can then collapse it. Below the affiliations section is the PMID, or the PubMed identifier number. This is a unique number assigned to every citation in PubMed. If you have a PMID, you can always find a citation by typing the number into the search box and clicking search. Don't include the letters PMID, and actually if you do include the letters, PubMed won't find the citation. So just enter the numbers. You can also enter multiple PMIDs at the same time and just separate those with a space. And I'll just show you what I'm talking about. I'll grab a few PMIDs. I'm not actually going to search. Well, I will search for those. These are 3 different PMID numbers separated only by a space, and when I search for those, it provides just those 3 articles. I'm going to use my back button to get back to where we were just a moment ago. Okay, so below the PMID, we have the abstract, which tells you what the article is about. Most articles have an abstract, and NLM displays what the publisher provides. If the publisher does not provide an abstract, NLM does not create one. To the right, we have a new feature called page navigation. This is an easy way to jump to other sections of the page without scrolling. So for example, mesh terms are generally at the very bottom of a citation record. You can jump down there easily. We also see the similar articles feature here. The similar articles section is a list of articles generated by an algorithm based on terms in the abstract, the title, and the subject headings designed to bring in other PubMed citations similar to the one you're looking at. And by default, 5 articles are displayed, but you can click on, at the very bottom of the list, Show More, or see all of those similar articles. There may also be a list of articles that cite this article that we're looking at, and I'm scrolling back up. Cited by. All right, so I'm going to scroll up a bit, and I'm going to click on the PubMed.gov logo in the upper left corner to take me back to the home page. We'll go back to the abstract view in a little bit later. All right, so another thing that people try and do in PubMed is to try and find all publications by a specific author. Searching by author can be tricky in PubMed. Multiple authors might have the same name, or one author might publish under different names. There are a few techniques that you can use to help you find articles by the author you're looking for. The most effective way to search for an author is to use the author's last name and initials. No need to tag, capitalize, or punctuate. Just enter the last name, then a space, then the initials. So for example, if we're looking for articles by Francis S. Collins, he's a geneticist and the director of the National Institutes of Health, kind of a big deal. You would just enter his last name, a space, and his first initial. We recommend this format instead of using the author's full name, even if you know it, because PubMed only began accepting full names in 2002, and not all publishers supply the full name, and hence not all records in PubMed include full names. So searching with the full name might miss results. We go into great detail about author searching in the ATM video. So I typed in last name space first initial into the search box, and this is going to do the most comprehensive search for this author instead of using his middle initial as well. And we get 1,555 results. And remember I mentioned he is a geneticist, and we see some of the titles reflect that. Here's genetic. Here's a huge list of authors just to show you. Another reference to genetics. We also see here in the list of authors, Collins FS. And we may see something like that down here. So when you search with just the first initial, it's almost like a wild card telling PubMed, bring in all variations of this name. So Collins F, Collins FS, Collins FP, whatever there is out there will be included in your results. So I'm going to click on this first title since I think it might be by the author we're looking for. and I can locate his name here, and actually I'm going to do a Control F here to find him. Okay, so here he is in the list of authors, and he's number 99. So what that tells me is I can scroll down past this giant list, open up the affiliation section, all the way down to entry 99, and it shows that this particular author is affiliated with the Medical Genomics and Metabolic Genetics branch at NIH. So this is another clue that helps me know that this is most likely my author. And this is the type of investigative work that you will need to do when you're asked to find all citations by a particular author. Where did that author work previously? Where does he or she work now? What is their specialty? And those are clues that will help you sift through those, in this case, 1,555 results to determine which is your author and which is not. Another way that you can find more citations by your author is using a feature called Computed Author Sort. And it's quite easy to use. So while in the abstract view, which is where I am now, locate your author's name in the list of authors, Francis S. Collins, and then click on the name. And now we see that there are 662 results, and it shows me a message here. Results are displayed in a computed author sort order. Results by timeline is not available. We haven't talked about the timeline yet, but that's something that is generally available on the left side here, but not in this case. So what is computed author sort? So because an author may share the same name as other authors, the objective of this feature is to display additional relevant results by a particular author. When you click on an author's name from within the abstract view of a citation, the author name disambiguation process kicks in and compares citations that have the same author name, and also looks at the similarity of co-authors, journal titles, article titles, affiliation, words from the abstract, mesh terms, grants this author may be associated with, and publication date. The articles that are most likely to be by your author show up at the top of this list. The farther down the list you go, the less likely the articles might be by your author. An additional way to find a specific author is using an ORCID, that's ORCID, and this is a free identification number available from orcid.org. This is a fairly new numbering system, I'll say. So not all authors have one, but if your author says he or she does, you can do a couple of things. You can enter the ORCID into the search box. Now this particular one I have didn't have dashes, but you will need to add dashes, or else PubMed might think those are PMIDs, and click search. And it took me to the one citation by this author here that I happen to know owns this particular ORCID. Another place that you can use ORCIDs is clicking on Advanced and using the builder. I'm going to put the ORCID in here. And there is a field that you can use, Author Identifier. Choose that field. Click Add on the right. So we're going to add that to our builder box. Click on the right here again, click on Search. and it took me directly to that same citation, and it shows me found one result using that author identifier tag, and that tag also shows up in the search box. So if you are an author or work with authors or expect to become an author in the future, help PubMed get more ORCIDs by creating an identifier for yourself and encouraging those you work with to create one, and make sure you attach it when submitting to a publisher. So we looked at a few ways to search for authors: last name and initials, computed author sort, and then ORCID. I'm going to click on the PubMed logo to go back to the home page, and we're going to shift gears just a little bit and talk about subject searching, which is unsurprisingly another common use for PubMed. Maybe it's a topic you don't know much about and want to familiarize yourself with it. Maybe you're doing a deeper dive into a particular subject. PubMed has a few features that make it easy for you to just type in what you're looking for into the search box and retrieve relevant results. One of those features is called Best Match Sort Order, and it's the default used in PubMed. Other sort orders are available, such as most recent and publication date, and you can change to those when you need that. Best Match is a machine learning algorithm that tries to match your search terms to the best matches in your list of results based on the article title, subject terms, and words in the abstract, and then displays them by rank with the most relevant citations appearing at the top. That algorithm is applied after your search is run. So it's just organizing your results, not affecting how your search is run. If you're interested in how your search is interpreted by PubMed, please watch the Automatic Term Mapping video, or ATM. Based on PubMed analytics and usage statistics, it's clear that the overwhelming majority of users only look at the first few results of their search and rarely, if ever, go past the first page. So a main goal of PubMed development is to make sure that the best, most relevant, and current research shows right up at the top of your results. In addition, the development of PubMed has focused on taking simple searches, some might say keyword searches, and translating them into more elaborate, comprehensive searches. And again, the automatic term mapping does a deep dive into that feature. Additionally, PubMed has tools designed to enable you to do a broad search and then refine it by using built-in filters. So let's search for acid reflux, no tags and no quotation marks. So I'll add acid reflux to the search box and hit search. I don't even need to know the proper scientific name for acid reflux. And that basic search gave me a bunch of results, over 37,000. And in the center of this page, we have a list of our results in what's called Summary View, which includes some key information for each article, such as the title, the authors, we have the PMID again. This time, I'm going to scroll down a little bit. Remember, I showed you in the abstract view, if you hover over the journal abbreviation, the full title displays, but in summary view, that is not the case. A portion of the abstract is displayed with our search terms bolded. So we've got acid and reflux bolded. Notice that some of the words bolded are not the words we used, and we'll get into that in just a bit. So here, gastroesophageal reflux is also bolded, but we'll talk about that later. So one of the things I want to point out here are all of the ways that you can repurpose or share these results. So below every citation in the summary view is the Cite button, and this is new. This lets you grab a properly formatted citation in several different formats. So I'll go ahead and click that. Here it defaults to the AMA format, but you can choose several, and APA is version 7. It's the most current version. Let me do that again. So you can click copy and then paste it wherever. Oops, I clicked on the wrong thing there. Now, if you wanted to download this, you can download it. This will download as an NBIB file. This is the same file type that Legacy PubMed has used for years. You can open this file with a text editor. For example, on a Windows machine, it will open with Notepad. And then you can either include it in another document or upload it to your citation management software. Next to the Cite button, we have the Share button, which is also a new feature. This provides a permanent link back to this article. So if you want to email that to somebody, you can. But this is only one citation at a time. You cannot do a bulk share using this feature. And if you want to share this particular article or a particular article on Twitter or Facebook, links are also formatted for you to do that. Then above the results, there's a Save button. Going up there, right up here. So you can save all results on the page, a specific selection, so 1 or 2. I didn't select any. You can then choose the format. It could be a list of PMIDs, the abstract text version, or a version that opens up in Excel. You can also save it as the PubMed file format. The PubMed file format is the same format as the Medline file format that exists on Legacy PubMed. So if I click Create, choose PubMed, Create File, you see it's a text document. I'm going to save that. And this will have all the fields that you've come to expect from previously known format as Medline. The name was changed for New PubMed because all citations in PubMed have this option, not just Medline citations. Medline citations are those that have mesh terms, but every single file or citation in PubMed has the option to be saved as a PubMed format. Okay, so we've got save, several things we can do there. Then we can click on email if you want to send one or more citations to somebody. You can do that. It's again a selection, all, what have you. Choose a format type. This is what's available. Tell them you're not a robot and then send the email. Then we have the Send To button. This provides several other options. If I send an item to a clipboard, I then get a message that it's been added to my clipboard. I can go to the clipboard page right now, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to click away from this. Okay, there we go. After you send an item to the clipboard, that is when you will then see a hyperlink to your clipboard. Clipboard hyperlink will only appear once something is on the clipboard. So you can go to it there. You could also click on Advanced, which I'll do right now, Scroll down to the History and Search Details section, which we haven't talked about yet, and then locate the entry number 0. It will always be number 0. Clipboard will always be number 0, regardless of who you are and when you did this search. You can click on it to see the PMID, and if you want to go to that citation or list of citations, just click on the number on the right here, and you'll be taken to that very citation. You could also click on the 3 dots to add it to your search, delete it, or if you have a MyNCBI account, you can save it there. Other features on the Send To menu are My Bibliography, Collections, which also require a MyNCBI account and are very useful. And then Citation Manager, I'll click on that. Again, it'll send either all or whatever you have selected. Create File. And again, this will be an NBIB file that you can save to your computer, open with a text editor, and or import into your citation management software such as RefWorks or EndNote, what have you. After running a search, you can also create an alert. I'll click on that. You'll need to log in first with a MyNCBI account. The name your search box will be pre-loaded here, but you can change this. So if you want to save a search for a particular class, you can do that, or a particular assignment, you can give it a new name. You can also update the search terms here. So if you decided you wanted to add therapy as a search term, you could do that here and then test whether or not that this new search will bring in results. In this case, yes, but I'm actually going to do away with that. And then this is where you actually create the alert. You can either just save the search to your MyNCBI account and or create an alert. Do you want an alert? Yes. Your email address, it can be changed, the frequency, choose the day, the format, how many items to send. You can send yourself a nice message and save that. I used to tell students during orientation that they could do research while they slept by setting up an alert and just wait for those research articles to come in. If you don't have a MyNCBI account, we encourage you to get one because in addition to creating alerts, MyNCBI lets you save collections of citations for yourself or to share them with others. So that was 5 ways to repurpose or share your results. Cite, share, save as a file, email, and create an alert. All right, so let's switch gears a little bit again and talk about how to narrow search results to a more specific subset. We have a big number here, over 37,000 with our acid reflux search, but unless you're doing a thorough review, you'll probably want a much smaller group to sift through. And the filters on the left side of the page are an effective way to do this. So now this time we do have the timeline here, and this allows you to see results by year. You can expand it, which I'll do right now, make the timeline just a little easier to work with. And as you grab the handles from either side, your search results are filtered through. I'll grab it from the other side. And then when you're ready to, you can also download this particular set of results that you're left with. You can reset the timeline to go back to the way it was initially, and then you can use the box to collapse it. All right, Scrolling down a bit, we have text availability. By selecting one of these checkboxes, you can restrict your search results to only articles that have links to free full text, or abstracts. Scrolling down to article types, these will restrict your results to a specific type of article. We're looking at the default list of filters right now, and some of these are study types, such as clinical trial, randomized control trial, and these can help you find specific types of research articles. Many of these filters in this section are MeSH terms, so you can go into MeSH and look up the definition of this particular filter. Moving down the list, we've got publication date. Many people like to limit their search to the past 5 years, so this is an easy way to do it. Then we have journal category. The default journal category is Medline, and this will filter our results to Medline citations that have MeSH terms applied to them. If you want to add additional filters, there's a button that says just that. I'll click there. And then there are categories of filters, defaulting to article type. So these are all the different article types that you could add to your filter sidebar. So I'll go ahead and, for example, add observational study. And then I'm going to jump down to the journal category here on the left. And here you could also add nursing journals, which is a very common request for students. I need 5 articles from nursing journals. And this is how you can do that. When I'm ready to add all of my choices to the filter sidebar, I click on the button Show. And now those filters appear in my list, but they have not yet been applied. So I could click on nursing journals and filter, and so now my acid reflux search, which had over 37,000 results, we're now down to 348. And finally, you'll want to clear your filters. There's a clear all button message at the top of your results. There's also, scrolling down, reset filters, and that will clear the filters that you've applied, and we're back to our big number. As I mentioned before, the default sort order is best match, and if you click on display options, you'll see that there were a couple of other ways to sort your results. Most recent is most recently added to the database, not most recently published. And then you do have the publication date option here. All right, so now let's go back into the Advanced Search Builder. I'm going to use the Advanced link under the search box. The Advanced Search Builder lets you search specific fields of a record, and you can also build a more complex search here. Let's just say we wanted to find articles from a specific journal. Even if you're not 100% sure of the name of that journal, there's an auto-suggest feature. So let me grab a journal title. So what I'm going to do here, the builder defaults to all fields, but if you click on the arrows, you'll see that there are a lot of different fields that you can choose. I'll choose journal. And let me just start. Okay. So I'm looking for citations from the Journal of Vitreoretinal Diseases. But maybe I don't know how to spell that. I don't know that vitreoretinal is one word. So I have a partial title here. And this is indeed the journal I want. So I'm happy with that. I can then click Add. And now my search terms are down in the query box. And I can click Search. I'm not going to do that just yet. One of the other things you can do is add this search to history. So when you hover over the little arrow next to the word search, add to history is an option. And some people like to do that. They like to build their searches one piece at a time. So I can add this to history, come down here and see that I've got that. And then later, as I add more pieces to my search, I could then add them in the actions column, add to my query, etc., etc. So I'm going to just add that back up there, and it's in the box. I know this search doesn't make sense, but I'm going to do that. Add acid reflux. You could add with and, or, not, etc. I'll add that. And now I'm building a more complicated search. I can also do that by just using the query builder up on top and add with and, or, not as I see fit. Now down in the history and search details section, this keeps track of the searches that you have run and lets you jump back to the results for any of these searches. Your history is retained for up to 8 hours of inactivity. So basically for most of us that means when we leave for the day, when we come back in the morning, this whole area will be empty. Let's see. So the search details here, you can click on the little arrow and it shows the details of our search. So we typed in 2 words, acid reflux, but we see that PubMed did much more than just search for those 2 words or that phrase. This is automatic term mapping in action. And this is all I'm going to say now about ATM, but please watch the ATM video for complete details about that feature. Actually, I want to add one thing. You may recall that in our list of results, and I'll go back there in just a moment, acid reflux was highlighted and gastroesophageal reflux was also highlighted. Gastroesophageal reflux was highlighted because it's a mesh term. Acid reflux is an entry term and will connect you to the mesh term. And both of those terms are highlighted in your results. And that's a pretty nifty feature for helping you identify relevant articles. So for example, let me do another search. So I'm going to go use the PubMed logo. This time it's on the right side of the page. The only time it's on the right side of the page is on this builder page. But it still gets you back to the home page. And so for example, if I type in the word nosebleed and run the search, I see nosebleed is highlighted and epistaxis. Epistaxis is the official term and or the mesh term for nosebleed, and that's highlighted in my results as well. All right, so we looked at summary view, abstract view, different ways to share results, different ways to search for a journal using the Advanced Search Builder. There are a lot of different fields there that can help you out. We looked at search details and history. Now I'm going to scroll down below the fold, an area you might not go to very often. And I want to point out a few resources here. So we have the FAQ and user guide, which is super helpful in new PubMed. Now, one of the first things you might see here is this search box, which you might think, oh, I'm just going to type in what I'm trying to find in the user guide. No, that's actually for searching PubMed. I suggest doing a Control F, Control Find, whatever you use on your machine, to type in what you're looking for. So if I'm looking for citation status subsets, do that, and you'll be taken to that section. There's also a page navigation section on the right, so that's nice and helpful. Okay, I'm going to go use my back button. We also have a link to clinical queries here and single citation matcher that a lot of people use. And then in the Explore section, there's a link to the MeSH database. This is the only way to get to MeSH from here, or PubMed recommends, or NLM recommends, bookmarking it onto your on your bookmark bar in your browser, which is what I have done. You can also, there's a quick link to take you to the journal catalog, the NLM Journals catalog right here. So those are quick ways to get to those databases. Also, if you keep scrolling down, you're going to see the trending articles section. Just like on Twitter or other social media, trending features, this section highlights articles that have seen a recent uptick in user activity. It showcases articles that aren't necessarily the newest, but have had some sudden increase in interest for whatever reason. It shows 5 articles by default, but you can then click on See More. And then also I told you I would show you how to get help if you get stuck. So you can always find, I believe on every single PubMed page, a link to the support center. And there's some other NLM databases linked here in this gray section under Popular and Resources. I want to thank you for watching How PubMed Works, an introduction to PubMed.